Hey guys, children, we are going to learn solving the quadratic equations by factorization method. I have written in the bracket middle term split method also. Children, you must have noticed directly from exercise 5a, I am jumping to exercise 5c. There is a reason for that because exercise 5b and exercise 5d, they both are interrelated. You will come to know that later. So children, at this moment I am going to start with exercise 5c, which is solving the quadratic equation by factorization method or middle term split method. Fine. Now children, the very first question, x square minus 10x minus 24 is equal to 0. They have given us a quadratic equation and they are asking us to solve it by using which method? Factorization or middle term split method. That means by using this method, we have to find out the values of x which will satisfy the given quadratic equation. That means you have to find those values of x which when substituted into this equation will give you a 0 on the left hand side. Clear? So children, you must have learned this in class 8 and 9 how to solve a quadratic expression by using middle term split method. If you don't remember, I'll just do a recapitulation of what we have done before. Okay. So guys, if the equation is x square minus 10x minus 24 is equal to 0, what are the numerical coefficients a and b and also the numerical constant here? You just need to compare this given left hand side with what? Ax square plus bx plus c, isn't it? So this implies small a is equal to 1, small b is equal to minus 10 and small c is equal to minus 24. Correct? Then what we used to do? We used to take the product of a and c, isn't it? We used to find the product of a and c. What is the product of a and c? 1 into minus 24, which is equal to minus 24. Now children, the next step is we used to take the value of b. That means the numerical coefficient which is there in the middle of the expression, which is minus 10 over here. And then we used to divide that minus 10 into two parts in such a way that when you add those two parts, when you add these two numbers, whatever the numbers are, that is equal to minus 10. And if you find the product of these two numbers, that should be equal to how much? The value of a into c, that is minus 24. Now children, just think and tell me, you can divide this minus 10 into which two numbers so that the sum of those two numbers is equal to minus 10 and the product is equal to what? Minus 24. Can I take 12 and 2, because 12 minus 2 will give me 10 and 12 into 2 will give me 24. First we think about the numbers, then we will think about the signs, isn't it? So children, can I take minus 12 and plus 2, because minus 12 plus 2 is what? Minus 10, and minus 12 into 2 is what? Minus 24. Yes. So you are able to split the middle value, that is minus 10, into two parts in such a way that the sum is minus 10 and the product is 24. I hope slowly you are able to recap whatever you have learned in class 8 and 9. Correct? So children, what was the original equation? X square minus 10x minus 24 is equal to what? 0. I have split this minus 10 into two parts. Which are those two parts? Minus 12 and 2. So I can write minus 10x as minus 12x plus 2x minus 24 is equal to 0. If you have a doubt, just verify it. What is minus 12x plus 2x? It's minus 10x. Now children, can we apply grouping method? Grouping in the sense we can just make two groups out of these four terms. Total how many terms are there? 4 terms. 1, 2, 3 and 4. we will take two terms each and we will make a group out of it. Can I take the first group as x square minus 12x and the second group as 2x minus 24? Children, if I notice x square minus 12x, what is the common factor in x square minus 12x? X, isn't it? So I'll take that x as a common factor. So inside the bracket I'll get x minus 12. From 2x and minus 24, what is a common factor? 2 is a common factor. So I'll take that plus 2 as common and inside the bracket I'll get x minus 12. Now in these two terms, what is a common factor? The common factor is x minus 12. Therefore, x minus 12 can be taken as common outside. Inside the bracket, what is left? From the first term, x is left. From the second term, 2 is left. So I get x minus 12 into x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now children, further how to solve this? I have to rub this portion. I hope I am clear with this side. Okay. Children, I was getting x minus 12 into x plus 2 as 0. Now how to go ahead further and find the value of x? Children, a very simple logic I'll teach you. Suppose I am saying a into b is equal to 0. If the product of a and b has to be 0, then it's a common sense to understand either a has to be 0 or b has to be 0, so that the product of these two values become 0. Yes. So children, let us assume that a is equal to 0. In that case, 0 into b will be what? 0. Let us assume b is equal to 0. In that case, a into 0 will become 0. Yes. So children, always remember this mathematical concept that if the product of two numbers is equal to 0, then either the first number has to be 0 or the second number has to be a 0. Fine. Now children, I'll just make use of this very simple concept in order to solve this equation. Now I know x minus 12 into x plus 2 is equal to what? 0. That means the product of these two factors is equal to 0, which implies either x minus 2 has to be what? 0, or x plus 2 should be a 0, isn't it? If x minus 12 becomes 0, then 0 into x plus 2 is what? 0. Or if x plus 2 is 0, then x minus 12 into 0 will become what? A 0. Correct? So children, that is the reason I just took both the factors separately and I mentioned that either x minus 12 can be a 0 or x plus 2 can be a 0. Now it becomes so easy for you to solve it further. Why? You know x minus 12 is equal to 0. So this implies x is equal to what? 12. Or if x plus 2 is equal to 0, it implies x is equal to what? Minus 2. That means the solution of the given quadratic equation can either be 12 or it can be what? Minus 2. You substitute x as 12 in the given quadratic equation, you will get a 0. Otherwise, you substitute x as minus 2 in the same quadratic equation, you will get the result as 0. Hence, you have found both the solutions of this quadratic equation. Easy? Thank you guys.